One of the biggest security functions that we have in the state of Idaho and in the United States is the decentralization of our national election system. The Constitution originated this decentralized system across 50 states where the federal government does not run the election. And in a very similar manner here in Idaho, the Secretary of State does not run the election.
We have registered voter rolls that verify someone is eligible to receive a ballot. They actually have to make a step, a positive action towards requesting an absentee ballot. We then verify that they're eligible to have one. We send them the ballot, and then, of course, they vote and send it back any number of ways to us. Once it's received by us, either through the Postal Service, a drop box, or someone physically handing those off, they go into what we call the dual custody roll. They aren't handled unless we have two people watching the ballot. They wait in a secure storage that's under camera surveillance as well until we open them. We start opening them the day before the election. So yesterday we started opening those absentee ballots. And then we process the ballot and vote it just like someone had showed up at a precinct.
So we have 44 independent elected county clerks that are doing a phenomenal job at keeping their space running the way that they need it to go with the regulations and the rules, as we say it, the guardrails on the highway that the Secretary of State puts on, within which they then choose the lanes.
If we've had problems, then we tend to reach out to the Secretary of State more often, which is a good thing. But all of that communication really takes place before today. There's directives that come down from the Secretary of State, procedures, policies that they would like to see in place for Election Day, and we communicate multiple times a day leading up to the election so that things run smoothly on the day of the election.
The clerks in the middle of a day have their hands full just dealing with the things that are coming up in their space. But it also is really interesting to be able to look at, are there any trends that cross maybe county to county or across the state or across a region as a whole? Are there weather incidents that maybe would be taking out significant chunks of a power grid, for example? A major ice storm, a major snowstorm, something like that. So we can see, thanks to the partnerships that we have here with, for example, the Office of Emergency Management, state police, things of that nature, we can see those power grids, we can see internet connectivity issues, we can see traffic patterns and police calls, things of that nature, on the tool that's up on the screens that these folks are looking at. And they can look at those different events in layers and turn them on, turn them off, see how they are impacting the final layer, which is the overlay of all of our polling precincts statewide.
Here in Idaho, we're very fortunate in that the paper ballot is the official record. What we're doing when we're scanning the ballots is we're scanning an image of the ballot, and then there's a program that tallies whatever that marking is on those ballots onto a secure hardened V drive, which is much like a thumb drive, inside the secure scanner and the network. And then what we do is we pull all those together and tabulate. That's how we're able to get results out within hours and days of an election rather than weeks if we were to have to hand count all of those ballots. We can generally get through about 45 to 50,000 absentee ballots in a day if we scan nonstop. And so we're working hard to still meet those deadlines of being able to get results out this evening or early in the morning. But it would be a great benefit to us if we didn't have to wait until today to start scanning them. So I would love to see in the future the legislature consider allowing us to open and scan those ballots, not tally them. We wouldn't tally them until Election Day, but at least scan them and have them prepared for the tally on Election Day. That would alleviate a great strain on us. And seeing the way that absentee voting is trending, that's just going to be something that becomes bigger and bigger and bigger for us.
This particular day, nothing of major consequence by any means. We've certainly had some incidents, mostly small, mostly addressable, but the big thing is we're logging those, we're looking at them to see if trends are emerging. If we're seeing something in multiple locations, then we know it's something that might be something that needs a statewide response, maybe that needs a bulletin of a heads up. Good example of that, not in this election, but in the 2020, we saw some robocalls that were originating starting on the East Coast, and we could see on the timelines as they were coming in, and we're watching from partners that are reporting in through some of our different national partners like the EI-ISAC and CISA, Department of Homeland Security. We're seeing these bulletins coming out of these different states as these robocalls are progressing across the country. We were able to actually prepare a press release, have that press release vetted before anything ever happened here in Idaho. And as soon as it did actually have verifiable occurrence here in Idaho, we were able to respond inside of almost 60 seconds with that press release going out to the public. So it just gave us the ability to really use some of our pre-planning tools, get some of those things in motion, get all the approvals that we needed to make a good informed response very rapidly.
So when we open an absentee ballot, there is a secrecy sleeve inside that prevents the person from connecting who is being voted for on that ballot with the name on the actual absentee ballot envelope. Once we have separated the envelope from the yellow sleeve, privacy sleeve with the ballot inside, we turn that over to another worker so there's no way for them to make the connection before we pull that ballot out of the secrecy sleeve. If we open a ballot and there isn't a secrecy sleeve inside and there's only a ballot, then we turn that over to a board that goes through the process of opening them and going through a very deliberate process of not looking at the outer envelope while they pull the ballot out, and then we process that so that no one ever knows whose vote is tied to which registered voter. You know, we try really hard here in Idaho, specifically here in Ada County, to go to great lengths to ensure people that our election process is secure. We're very open, we're very transparent. We want people to come in and see what we do. There's no secrets. The hardest thing for us is dealing with the national narrative of things that are happening in other places. We can talk until we're blue in the face and tell people that we're doing the right things, but it really does help when people are able to see us doing the right things. And we hope that as they participate in the voting process, whether it be absentee, early voting, or on election day, they see that we're doing everything possible to carry out a safe, free, and secure election.